Now let's say we want to place a medallion here in the center of the driveway. To do that, you want to place it in as an object. So if we go up here to Object Libraries, you'll see that under medallions there are two types. There are stamped concrete and there are stencil tops. Because I did change this to a stamped concrete pattern, we're going to use the stamped concrete medallion, and I want to use one of the compass medallions. Now you see there are many different colors and combinations here in the program. So all you have to do is pick one to try it out, because you can change them. If you don't like the one that you picked, it's easy to change it. So I want to get a little bit lighter one here. Let's pick this one here. So if I double click it, it'll ask me if I want to perform this. Because it's a big object, just always say yes. It will automatically size it down to fit on the screen for you. And even so, it's still big. So I want to size it down. You can size objects by going to the corner handles, and when you get the little two arrows, you click on it and drag, and I've sized the medallion down. Now I want to lay it down in the driveway. Now, because it is an object, you use a different tool, which is called the warp tool. So we'll click on the warp tool here, and the default setting is usually at free, but to lay something down on a driveway, if you put it in as horizontal, it ties the top and bottom handles together like the perspective tool. So it's just faster to warp something by using horizontal if it's going down on the ground. And in a matter of seconds, you have it sized and warped onto the driveway. So once you're done, you click OK. Now if I want to change it now and try out different compass medallions, I could go back in here to the library. Let's size it down a little bit, and I could pick different colors and combinations and simply click and drag them onto the medallion, and you can see it changes. Let's find one that's not going to look good at all. So you can see how it's quick and easy to try out different combos. Now usually if the medallions are smaller, it's not going to give you that question if you want to size them down or not. It'll just do it. Now if I want to make this a little smaller, logic would tell you that all you'd have to do is grab the handles and size it down. But because you've warped it, it's not going to work quite that easy. It's simpler to go back into the warp tool and just size it down by warping it a little bit more. You gotta trust me on that one. Okay, so now that's all there is to adding an object to the driveway area. Now I'm going to show you what if you want to customize an object that you want to place in here. So we're going to delete this one again. Click on it and press the delete key on your keyboard, or click delete up here. Under objects, you will also find a library called templates. And under templates there are several subcategories. For example, animals. You'll see in animals there are templates of different animals that you can use and place into an image. Also under templates we have many different categories, but one is geometric. And if you want to take a geometric shape and bring it to the screen, you just double click on it and it will come up on the screen. Now this is a little large. I'll size it down just a bit here. Now what you can do is you can place different textures in different parts of this particular template. Let me show you how that works. What you do is you go up here to the fill wand command, and there are different libraries in here. These are texture libraries, and we're going to start with reactive stains. Then you click on from library and you'll see the different stain colors here. All you have to do is pick a color, and then you'll have this magic wand little icon here. So you click on this area here and it fills with that reactive stain color. So I'm going to fill these with one color, then I'll go back into the library, select Jade, and now I want to fill this with that color. And if you make a mistake, let's say I filled this one here, the easiest thing to do is click undo. This just undoes your last move while you were in the fill wand. So if I undo that one, I click undo again, it just goes backwards, and I could take off all the jade ones, and let's say I want to change those to turquoise. Now you can't go back in and pick a different color let's say ebony, and overwrite one of those, because you can see it doesn't really work that well because it's picking up the color that's there and replace it with another color. And because there are several colors in here, it just doesn't work that way. You're going to have to go undo or start over if you wanted to do that. So let's just finish this one off here. Let's get the amber color and we'll place it up here. Now that looks too much like that color, so let's undo that. And let's get amber 1. So now I finished this and I got it the colors I want. I click OK to exit this menu, and now this is an object just like the compass star was that I can warp and place in the driveway. So if I go up here to the warp tool again, click on this handle, drag it down, and now I've placed it in the driveway. The other thing too is if you've got a color combination of something that you like, you can always save that object, not after the warp is placed on it, but when it's straight up. So if I went cancel and I wanted to save this, I could go here to File, Export the object, navigate to a folder where I want to save it, and I'm just going to save it in here, and I'll just call it star. I'm going to delete it, and so you can go back into that folder and pick it up, and there it is with the colors that you've placed on it. Now you can add that to your library also. To do that, we'll go here to Library. I'm going to open one of these template libraries, Geometric, and I want to place it here in the beginning. I want to add the star to it, and now I have it in the library. So we're going to save the library. There are training moves that teach you how to build libraries and save things. I'm just covering this quickly so that you understand you have the ability. So now if I go back into Geometric, there is the one that I had already colorized. Saves me a lot of time the next time I'm going to use it. And again, we're going to quickly warp it into the driveway. Quick side note, I showed you how you could fill this geometric shape with reactive stains, but you can use anything that's a texture library. I could go in here to Micro Toppings, click on From Library, pick a color, and I could fill it with that. I could even mix and match. I could go into the Expose Aggregate library and grab those. Now the other thing too with Expose Aggregate, you can change the size of it. So if I wanted it to be a smaller pattern, I click on the slider here and slide it over to the left, which would make these smaller. If that's too small, I'd slide it over to the right and I'll make them larger. So keep that in mind. It's not limited to just reactive stains or just one type of product. You can mix and match anything you want into any kind of shape that you want. Now I'd like to show you how to place a tree and shadow in this image. Now even though you may not be a landscaper or put in any landscaping, dressing the image up sometimes can add more appeal to the picture. So for example, this picture was taken in the winter, the grass was dead, the tree is deciduous, has no leaves on it. You want to spruce it up a bit and make it look like springtime. So what we're going to do is add a tree in. To do that, you go up here to the library, you go to Plants, we'll go to Trees, we're going to pick up the Southern Library here, and we're going to pick this tree here. By double clicking on it, it comes to the screen. I'm going to click and drag it over to Position. Now you notice this tree isn't quite tall enough as the tree that was there that we want to cover up, so I'm just going to click on the top here and drag it up a bit. Now I'd like to make a shadow of this tree and lay it down on the ground for two reasons. One, it makes the image look a little more realistic, and two, so you know how to make a shadow. So to create a shadow of any object, you need to first select on the object so that you can see it's highlighted here. Then you go up to the shadow command. Now watch when I click the shadow command, you'll see a little silhouette of the tree appear right next to it. So I'll click on that, and you can see there is the shadow. Now that doesn't really do us much good because we want it laying on the ground. So what you need to do is pick on the shadow by clicking in the gray area and then move it over so that you can see it and manipulate it better. Now one thing I want to do is I want to make this shadow darker because it's a little light. To do that, you right click and you go here where it says transparency. It's set at 25. Raising this number to 55 will make it darker. You click OK And as you can see, you're able to see the shadow a bit more. Now you would think to lay the shadow on the ground, you would just go to the rotate command and rotate it to lay it on the ground, which doesn't really work. And I'm going to do it just to show you why. Because it doesn't distort the tree at all, and it really doesn't give you the look that you're looking for. So rotation does not work. So let's undo that. So what you want to use is the warp tool. To use the warp tool, we go up here to the warp icon, click on it, make sure it's set to free, and then you're going to grab these handles to rotate the tree around the way you want it. So I'll bring this down here. And as you can see, that's a totally different effect than rotate, which brings it up on the house and everything. We just want it down here on the ground. So now I've got the tree the way I want it. I click OK, and then I will just pick it up and move it so that the trunk matches up with the tree. And that's all there is to it. Now let's add some flowering shrubs here in the front real quick, just to top it off. So we'll go up here to shrubs. I want to bring in some azaleas and rhododendrons. And I think this group here will work. So I'm going to just pop that in here. Size it up a bit. Now we want the shadow of the tree to be on top of these shrubs. So what we do is we'll click on the shadow of the tree and we'll bring it to the front. Now as you can see, now the shadow is going across these shrubs here. And if we want these to be behind the tree also, we could just send them to the back. That would do the same thing. Now it's behind the tree and behind the shadow.